part in a silent protest. Find out what brought them to campus.
Then find out how much of an impact CSU has on the Northern Colorado economy.
Then find out why businesses come and go in Fort Collins. All this and more starting now on CTV News 11.
Good evening, Rams, and thank you for joining us. We begin with the breaking news out of Parmalee Hall this afternoon. I'm Giselle Baer.
And I'm Lauren Orcutt. A fire that started around 4 o'clock this afternoon broke out after food set off the alarms. The fire was put out and there were no injuries.
This morning, People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, also known as PETA, took part in a silent protest at President McConnell's speech at the International Symposium.
The protest came after they urged the university to stop experiments on birds. In a press release, they argued that the university should pay closer attention to the action of CSU professor Gregory Ebel, who conducted the experiments. PETA argues that the study isn't having any benefits to CSU.
The woman who was found dead in a Windsor driveway was identified as 37-year-old Bree Ann Boidio by the Weld County Coroner's Office. The cause of Boidio's death has not been released as they are still waiting on lab results. The man suspected in the shooting turned himself in on Monday morning to Weld County authorities.
A Greeley man and woman have been charged in the connection to killing a Greeley musician. 48-year-old Kevin Eastman was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of possession of a weapon by a previous offender. Eastman was charged with the murder this afternoon and has a bond hearing set for this Tuesday.
With troubling issues of bias and hate on campuses around the country, Syracuse University students have taken a stand with its protest. The ASCSU has just passed a resolution to show solidarity with Syracuse students. Live from the Senate is live reporter Kenneth Frederick. Kenneth, what's going on with the Senate?
Thanks, Lauren and Giselle. Last night, the Senate passed a bill standardizing the procedures for removing a senator from office. As well, they passed a resolution showing solidarity for Syracuse student protesters. Many of the senators believed that this resolution was necessary, given our own hate and bias-related incidents on our very own campus.
The ASCSU is standing in solidarity with student protesters from Syracuse University. They also sent a bill on the rules for the removal of senators to its committees. Syracuse University has had several bias-related incidents on its campus in the last year. Syracuse students are in the 11th day of protesting, taking over a building with a sit-in and recently shutting down 2 blocks of city streets near their campus. Student protesters say that they will continue to protest until their list of demands are met. Many senators cited bias-related incidents on CSU's campus for their support of the protest.
Years and recent months, there have been many bias-related incidents on campus, so I think that a simple protest is not too much to ask to endorse. I think that this bill is very appropriate in this time of age.
The ASCSU passed the resolution supporting the protesters in a vote of 26 to 2 to 9. As well, a bill passed to standardize the process of removing senators from the ASCSU. Currently, some of the academic colleges have their own rules for removing the senators that represent them. The bill put forward would have the Supreme Court act as an unbiased third party for all colleges. Some senators complain that the colleges should have their own say in how to remove representatives and that the bill protects senators from the judgment of their colleges. Others agree that the rules of removal should be standardized and that the use of a third party would be beneficial.
Whatever is happening, there could be discrepancies that aren't noticed on one side or the other, and that's why I believe it is absolutely necessary for there to be an unbiased third party to be able to judge this.
The Senate passed the bill with a majority in favor of the Supreme Court's help in the process of removing senators.
This bill still doesn't change the way that the Senate can remove a president from office. It just centralizes the way for senators to be removed from the Senate.
So what's going to happen in the future with the bill for removing senators?
The bill's going to go to all 4 of the Senate's committees, and if it gets out of the committees, it'll be voted on in the Senate next week. Reporting live from the Senate, I'm Senate correspondent Kenneth Frederick, CTV 11 News.
The city of Fort Collins is asking for feedback on oil and gas regulations. The city is looking to inform residents about oil and gas development and potential regulations in the city. There are 2 public meetings that are set on March 2nd at the Lincoln Center and March 5th at the Fort Collins Senior Center.
$4 billion. That's about how much money Northern Colorado universities are contributing to the economy in Larimer and Weld counties. The study, which found that Colorado State University, University of Northern Colorado, Ames Community College, and Front Range added to the local economy in the 2017-2018 fiscal year. The report also found that the largest contributing factor to the economy are college students. Fort Collins is a hub for food, coffee, beer, and of course pizza, among many other things. But with so much competition, how can businesses stay afloat? I decided to see exactly why so many businesses open and close in what seems like only a few months.
Fort Collins is home to upwards of 160,000 people, from families to college students who call this town home. With its popularity of being a hub for Northern Coloradoans to visit, means businesses want to move here and hopefully stay.
We've been consistently a growing community with more population coming, and that creates more disposable income, particularly for retailers and restaurants.
But staying here isn't always the case.
Retail and restaurants can sustain rent only in so much as they can generate sales.
And for a business to stay afloat, they need a decent income and customers to help them compete with the high restaurant and retail competition.
And when one door closes in Fort Collins, another one tends to open in no time. Now, this is because there is an oversaturation of businesses and restaurants in town.
In fact, within just 2019 alone, 22 businesses opened in town, with 15 closures following suit. However, this doesn't mean the economic health of Fort Collins is in jeopardy.
It's part of the natural evolution of a place and evolution of the entrepreneurs often that are behind these establishments, trying to figure out how they can stay relevant, right, in a changing world.
There definitely won't be a shortage of places to eat, drink, or shop in Fort Collins. But what isn't guaranteed is that your favorite joint will be able to last through the ever-growing competition.
You know, Giselle, just this past month, a restaurant and a nightclub are actually coming to take over a building right off of College, which was Mainline Ale House. Now, the reason that they closed is simply because rent is too high. Now, I'll be curious to see if this new restaurant and nightclub will beat the odds and stay in town.
I would be curious too, especially since the bar scene is very popular.
Yep,
so.
Definitely. Now, the city of Thornton is set to begin construction on a controversial water pipeline in March. Larimer County Commissioners struck down the building of the pipeline about a year ago, but the construction is set to begin in Windsor and Johnstown, where the jurisdiction of the county doesn't apply. The pipeline, however, still can't be built in unincorporated parts of Larimer County.
Reporter Remy Kelbel has a unique way for veterans to find some peace of mind. Remy?
Thanks, Giselle and Lauren. There's a writing workshop here at CSU specifically used to help veterans transition back from the war. I spoke with one of the members who leads the Veterans Writing Workshop.
There's a club at CSU in the English department, which is used to help veterans transition back from civilian life through the art of writing.
I got here, I was told that this is something they're trying to get off the ground.
A woman struggling with transition was afraid to open up. But with the writing workshop, opening up finally became a little easier.
I've heard from some of our veterans, and I'm thinking kind of specifically of some of the Vietnam era folks, how they were silenced from the moment they got back. And this group and this writing has been some of the first times they've been allowed to open up and express themselves.
Through the process of sharing their writing, the veterans have an easier time talking about their past, providing healing together.
She said, you know, I've never written about any of my experiences over there. Not sure I want to do it. Not sure I'm a writer. Not sure this is a good fit. And then she kind of took that leap of faith and jumped in and started writing. And her work has just been beautiful, just really incredible.
Really?
And she's blossomed as a writer and is an integral part of the group.
This group allows veterans to share their experiences and helps them in the process.
Just be part of that shared healing, and I think the shared healing from some of the shared trauma of war has been really powerful.
Writing becomes an outlet for them and creates a community they can rely on.
As much as we're a writing group, we're a community building group first. So we try to have a space that's as safe and vulnerable as possible.
You know, it's amazing to hear that these veterans are opening up, and this workshop is helping them transition.
Well, don't go away just yet, because coming up after the break, Krista McAllister went down under for food for her next adventure. Krista?
That's right, I went to a restaurant that is bringing the Outback to Fort Collins. Find out what I have coming up next on CTV News 11.